So we're gonna put a Bimini, that's all folks, and a Dodger on our Portland Pudgy. Join us next. Hey, welcome back to Sailing Not Shore. I thought I'd actually stop by and show the boat since I haven't showed it in a while. Look, there it is, Sailing Not Shore. Sitting here ready for the next trip. Okay, what am I up to today? So, a little something odd going on. So, one of the thoughts I've had is eventually we're gonna go to the Bahamas, like every good sailor does. And my dinghy is basically my car. And I want it to be comfortable. So, as you know, I bought a Portland Pudgy. You can look at all the videos of that. The only thing is, I'm fair-skinned. I don't like getting soaking wet driving on the dinghy. So the thought is, well, I have a Dodger and a Bimini on my boat to keep myself from getting soaking wet. Why don't I do it on the dinghy? So that's what we're doing. We're putting a Dodger and a Bimini on the dinghy. So, because the Portland Pudgy, one of the cons is it doesn't go fast, 6 miles an hour. Okay, you know, it'd be great to plane. I've had thoughts about putting a bigger engine on it, but I've already got a big enough engine. I'd probably rip the back off if I put anything bigger on it. So, what we're gonna do, exactly like I said, a Bimini and a Dodger. So, I've got it in my shed, so I'm gonna start working on it. You're probably wondering, why do I have this big piece of wood here? So this is about the height at which we sit, so that's about 3 feet there. So, the Bimini's gonna come up about 3 feet, so my wife can sit right about there, okay? And I got another board over here, and this is where I sit. So again, the Bimini will be about that high. So that gives me my kind of my minimums of where I need it to be at. So, have I done this kind of work before? No. However, I thought, I know they don't make a small Dodger for this that I know of, so I'm gonna have to fabricate something. So the next thing is, okay, where am I gonna get the pipes and all, you know, the hardware? So, well, I started poking around like everyone does on the internet, Amazon, and I basically found these Vevor, I guess, V-E-V-O-R, and I'll put a link to the Amazon thing here. I'll show you the link, where I got them on Amazon. They were about a little under $100 each, and it's a full Bimini, 3-bow, which means it's got 3 of these, hold on, it's got 3 of these bows. And it's got aluminum hardware. Only thing I didn't know it was riveted, so that was something I'll need to drill out some rivets and put new ones in, which is probably why I just bought a rivet tool. Anyway, nice thing, it also comes with, since it already comes with the material for covering it, so I'll be altering that with the sailrite machine. And it's got a cover when you're done, so it's like, cool. So that's a pretty decent deal. And so this is what we're going to be working on. So the real trick is I've got to alter this whole thing. As you can see, so I'm going to have to shorten this pole up down here, shorten that up a little bit, and cut these because I want them to fit up front. I want them to fit flush with the contour of the boat so that when I put it down, it's kind of out of the way, it's there. So we're going to have to make some massive alterations of these things, which I knew. I knew ahead of time I was going to have to do some cutting. It's just aluminum, so it shouldn't be bad to cut. And then when I put the canvas on, I'm going to have to alter the canvas, so that'll be the real fun part. All right. So, actually, yeah, there's going to be a lot of alterations. This may not turn out at all. This may not work at all, but if it does, that'll be great. So, so this is the next big project, so join me for this. Or we're going to start now. Actually, I've already started, so there we go. So I am going to have to bend this. I think I'm going to bend it here, because I got to cut these anyway. And I think I'm going to try and bend these. In order to get these to line up to match right, to get them to feed in properly, I'm going to have to probably bend those a little bit. Probably heat them up with a propane torch and then bend them a little bit and then get them to that. Hopefully it should give me the angle. And then I'm going to have to cut these short. And then there's the other bow, the second bow that goes in here. And I'm going to have to probably cut that by half or a third or so, but we'll get into that. Plenty of extras actually that I won't be using. This is a support tube for the back for the usual. Again, this is a Bimini. I'm changing it into a Dodger. And then you've got the other, you know, this handles the other bows, putting all 3 on. But I'm not going to use that one, so again, I've got extra tubing just in case I really screw up. But first thing I got to do is I got to drill out that rivet. Nice thing is these have little washers, little rubber O-rings between them that help really keep them together. So So, how do we get a rivet out? Drill, baby, drill. Let's see if I can get this. This is one of the extra ones, just in case I screw this up. So, basically, just drill out the rivet. Alright, so there it goes. It's out. You can see I just drilled it out. Okay, I'm back from the hardware store. Got the right one. This is 5/32. So that fits in there, and that's what we'll be using. So, of course, I had to change the head out for a 5/32 piece, so that fits in there now. So that's good. All right, so. Okay, so what's the first thing I'm doing wrong here? No eye protection, and I'm cutting metal. So, eye protection. All right, gonna have to get the furrows and pieces off here and clean it up. So. Yeah, right tool for the right job. Round file, get in there. Gotta clean up the inside because I gotta put that connector on here. I'm just connecting them up to make sure they actually work together. And there we go. Alright, that'll work. How do I bend these out without breaking the heck out of them? So, we're gonna come back to that question in a minute once I figure it out. We'll be right back after these messages. Okay, I have consulted with the internet, and the idea is to pack it with sand, and I put 2 corks on each side to pack it with sand and heat it up and bend it. That's generally the idea. Mostly it was showing how to make a bend, not how to undo a bend, so I'm hoping that the same thing will work. I just need to heat this up a little more, and with the sand inside, that'll keep it, because I don't want to flatten the tube. That's the biggest thing I was scared of, is flattening the tube. We're going to try this. I made a jig on the floor. Basically a bending area, so I nailed these down. Stick this straight in, and I'm going to pull on it. So we'll see if that works. Heat her up here. Oh yeah, I think I felt it give a little. Or maybe that was my elbows. Let's see what we get. Comparing it with the existing one. And oh yeah. Okay, much better. Attach it right about here in front of the oar locks. And then that will also give me the height I need, because it's going to come up to about here. For the height is where I need it to be in order for someone to sit there. So I cut these main beams a little more, put them in a place here, because I'm changing things around it from my original plan. Originally this was going to be just the front bow, but actually it's going to be the back bow. So that'll come up to here because I need the tension to pull there. If I did it the other way, and had this the front bow, and then had another bow come this way, then that bow's got to be pulled down against the fabric. And I'm like, well, you know what? I want the tension on this one, and I'll take the front bow. So this one's going to be here like this. And then, so that tension will actually be that clips to the fabric up here and pulls from back there. So that's kind of where we're at right now. Cutting the heck out of this thing. I'm sure. Got this bow cut and bent to size to pretty much overlay this one a little bit. Alright, so I bent this secondary bow so that it put together, got a straight edge, so it'll actually go together. And put a piece of string in here to get my measurements of like 1.5. Here. Up. And that'll work. Now you see if I sit here, you know, my head's touching and the canopy's going to go right over here. So most times she's doing this anyway. She's holding on and leaning forward a little bit. I mean, worst case, actually, sit down in here and got plenty of room. Look here. Yeah. Alright. You know, I probably should have measured probably from here to here, because it looks like a little off on my sewing measuring, but not too bad. And you can see the strap down here is strapped to there. So I'll put another one there, another one there. I don't have one there, so I have one actually there and there. Alright. You're like, hey, what's with the holes over here? Well, eventually that'll be a window, so that won't matter. Hey, welcome back. Okay, so things are done. Sewing. Basically a lot of sewing. So got the, like I said, I got that pocket made. I also had to put a seam in to take up some of the other material, the extra material, because this is a bimini I'm turning into a Dodger, so there's a seam where I put those two together, took off some extra slack. Did put in some snaps up front, so I got some snaps in there, as well as I got my clips on here, got 3 clips on here. And then I also had, then I went ahead and reused the, I had to cut this off because it had a lot of extra. I went ahead and took off the binding here that was on the old one and put it on this one, so we got binding all the way around, so it matches now. Okay, next thing we're going to do is put this on, and then we're going to probably start drawing out the window. It looks like it's good. I've got my bow in there, I've got the top bow, got the center middle bow, and then I've got the clips over there that are holding it. And it's tight, which is good. That's what I want. Had to create a seam here to take up for extra material because this is a bimini, not meant as a Dodger. I've got snaps here that I put all around, so I've got the snaps holding it down nice and tight there. Alrighty, here's the Dodger, the complete. I put a window in. You can see here, and again, you can go to Sailrite, and they'll teach you how to put windows in canvas. And added snaps at the bottom here, so I got snaps all around. Then I came over and I added this piece, created this one from scratch. It uses the strap that's already there that I've got going down to here and attaches there. Added snap here and added inside snaps here. So if you look around the other side here, there's the snaps right there. And it goes all the way that way. So this way that the Dodger overlaps this piece, so when the waves hit, it's going to go this way and not the other way. If I snap on the other side, it just all come inside, so. And the whole thing drops right up front. And these pieces come up here. And you can fold in the whole thing. And then the cover that came with the original bimini goes over here, covers the whole thing up. And I've already done some pictures on that. So